At the end of July, Congress faced another deadline to fund our nation's major transportation and infrastructure programs. Now listen to this. Over the last 10 years, we have had 34 short-term extensions of the Highway Trust Fund in Washington. 34. The last one was 60 days. It ended at the end of July. What's wrong with this picture? There used to be a time when we would pass a federal highway bill that we could count on for 5 or 6 years. People could plan. The state of Illinois could start talking about making long-term commitments. We would have commitments made by contractors and unions, and we'd know that the suppliers were going to have business for 5 or 6 years. And then it all fell apart. And we started extending the Highway Trust Fund in Washington for weeks and months at a time. So what's wrong with this picture? How do you make a long-term transportation plan if you aren't certain that you're going to have federal funding coming in on a regular basis? If you went to the bank to buy a home and they said, sure, we'll give you a mortgage for 6 months, you'd say to yourself, I'm not buying this home because I don't know what's going to happen at the end of 6 months. That's the reality of what's been going on with the Highway Trust Fund. And we couldn't reach an agreement. There was a breakdown in the House and a breakdown in the Senate, and then a number of us decided to step up and change the conversation. Imagine, if you will, an alliance with Dick Durbin of Illinois, Barbara Boxer of California, and Mitch McConnell of Kentucky. The three of us got together, and we put together a 6-year authorization bill for the Highway Trust Fund with 3 years of funding. I'll tell you, it was controversial because it's not paid for the way I would have paid for it, but it is paid for. 3 years of funding. We debated it back and forth. Before it was all over, we had a solid majority of both Democrats and Republicans supporting it. It was a bipartisan compromise. And as a result, we passed it out of the Senate at the end of July and sent it over to the House of Representatives. It means that we can count on funds for at least 3 years, up to 6, and that each year there'll be an increase in the money coming in for Illinois. How important are the federal funds when it comes to highway construction in Illinois? 80% of highway construction in Illinois comes out of federal funding. And what does it mean in terms of bridge construction? 1 out of 6 bridges in our state is in need of repair. Billions of dollars worth of repair work that needs to be done. Well, we found that these monthly extensions of the Highway Trust Fund just don't work. You can't patch your way to prosperity in America. You've got to have a plan that puts people to work, invests in our communities, and gives us something to build on. Just look here in Peoria. Look downstate, central Illinois. How much highways and roads mean to us in terms of developing businesses, developing jobs, good-paying jobs. And a lot of you here, my friends from organized labor, you know what this means. If people are going to get off the bench and out to work, if they're going to be able to take care of their families, they've got to have some sort of reliable source of funding. And that's what this is all about.